It always staggers me how valuable gold is compared to silver. Playing that ratio, is it practical? Can you swap your gold for silver? And then perhaps when the ratio swings the right way, your silver for gold, and then maybe increase the amount of gold that you have in your stack over time, or silver, depending on which way you like to roll. You want to have that giant stack of silver or giant stack of gold. Playing the ratio is definitely a tool by which you can increase the amount of wealth that you have. But is it practical? Can we actually rely on it as an easy way to increase the amount of silver and gold we have in our stacks? There are pitfalls. So we are going to dive in and have a good old precious metal ramble about swapping gold for silver or silver for gold and playing the ratio. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome to another Precious Metal Ramble where we have down-to-earth discussions about all things precious and shiny. And today I want to talk about playing the gold to silver ratio, swapping your gold for silver or swapping your silver for gold. Is it practical? Is it something that we can do to help increase the amount of metals that we've got within our stack over a period of time? Yes, that is a possible thing to do, and people have done it for decades and have managed to accumulate way more gold and silver than they would have done by just leaving their money in silver or gold. It's definitely a thing to do, but it does not come without its impracticalities, without its complications in terms of actually working out what the trade should be and physically doing the trade. Now, I've got some experience of this myself, not necessarily with gold, silver, although I have done that in the past, but for large gold into smaller gold, I did that trade last year. So I'll talk a little bit about my experiences of that and what I went through as a stacker to work it out. But also, I have seen recently a trade that was offered on the Silver Forum that eventually didn't happen, to the best of my knowledge anyway, for gold to silver. Basically, expectations didn't match up to where it needed to be for the trade to happen. And that's one thing that I will say right off the bat is the biggest pitfall for any trading swap situation. If you don't have the right expectations as the swapper, it ain't gonna happen. So understanding the different elements that go into making a trade, I think is really important. I'm gonna share some of those as we go throughout this video. And I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions and experiences on this. Have you done a gold to silver ratio swap trade before? How did it go for you? What are your top hints, tips and tricks? Please let me know down in the comment section. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying our video and hit the subscribe button. There's a little black box up here that you can press to subscribe as we march on towards 75,000 subscriber milestone and a nice big giveaway. So subscribe for more. Okay, gold to silver ratio. It is a time-tested practice that you can use to look to gain more gold and silver. If you start out with 4 sovereigns and the ratio is in favor of gold, say, and you swap it out and you get, say, I don't know what the ratio would be, let's say you get 100 ounces of silver, and then at some point down the line, the silver ratio falls back in favor, and you swap those 100 ounces of silver for 6 sovereigns, then all of a sudden you have more gold in your pocket than you did at the start of the trade, and you haven't had to actually spend any more money on it. So that's the real basic principle of silver to gold ratio swap plays. It's definitely a thing that you could do. I've seen plenty of videos on it. I remember seeing lots of different videos about it when I got started buying gold and silver. And indeed, I even thought about playing that ratio myself when I got started and going, well, this is how I'm going to continue to improve my stack and add extra gold and silver to it. Ooh, that little dip in the red gave me a heart skip there for a moment, but it is not without its complications. So one of the biggest complications that I will say right off the bat is around the idea of what premiums you're going to get. That is one thing that people don't really understand, I think. Well, it's not that they don't understand, they don't necessarily take it into full consideration. You see the gold to silver ratio, whatever it is. In fact, I should probably look it up right now today. Let's have a look and see what we are working with today. If we just quickly go to my go-to page, I'm not going to show it on camera because I don't want to give them a free shout out, but the ratio, according to them, is, if I can find it, should have prepared, is 88.63. So basically, if you have 88.63 ounces of silver, you can put it into 1 ounce of gold and do the swap. And then what you do is you wait. I mean, recently, I say recently, within the last 4 years, there was a period where it was 126 to 1. So you could trade 1 ounce of gold and get 126 ounces of silver, and then If that was what you did back then, you could take 86 of those ounces of silver and put it into gold, and then you'd have more metal overall in your ratio. But the problem comes to premium. Like it or hate it, we live in a capitalist market economy. Most of us do anyway. And therein lies the problem, because different things have premiums. So a sovereign is, in my opinion, one of the best coins that you can buy. But there are lots of different types of sovereigns. A shield-back sovereign, if we can get the camera to focus, a shield-back sovereign is a beautiful coin, has a premium to it. Right now, the spot price on a sovereign is about 540. They go for about 550, 560, something like that on the Silver Forum. Shield sovereigns, you'd be lucky to pick them up below 580, 590. Good one, £600 all day long. So you can see there instantly where the problem lies. And if you're looking to trade up something that has a bit of a premium, say it might be a PF69 proof coin, which is a nice coin and commands a premium, 100% it commands a premium, but it doesn't necessarily command the full premium of a perfect 70 grade coin. So how are you going to work out what the right ratio is for that? And then compounded with that is the idea that silver, certainly in the UK anyway, and in different countries, including the US, have different premiums on them. You know, generic silver rounds, junk silver has different premiums to beautiful, crisp eagles. Different dates of eagles have different premiums attached to them as well. Lunar coins from different mints around the world have different premiums. It is a minefield. Now, you can mitigate that somewhat in your own mind if you are just willing to buy the most generic pieces of gold and do those as the swap. And that is definitely something that I would recommend. If you are simply looking to do the most basic spot play, ratio play that you can possibly do, then what, in my opinion, you should be looking to do is get just the most generic, cheap to the ground silver that you possibly can. Buy big bars like these Umicor's. They're nice bars, but they are not necessarily the most practical. They are big. People like me can't chop them up because they're too big and thick and chunky. So they end up just being cheap. And you can get big Umicore bars for around about £1 over spot on Silver Forum. I've bought them for spot before. You know, it's a spot price play, so easy. And when I come to then swap these coins or bars for other bits in the future, I know that I'm not really losing out on the premium side of things. Now, the big problem that happened on the Silver Forum, where a gentleman was trying to swap 10 of his quarter ounce bullion versions of the Queen's Beast coins, beautiful series, beautiful collection, highlights of the Raw Mint's previous history before the big changes that we won't talk about. Anyway, beautiful set, beautiful series, 10 coins, 2.5 ounces of gold. But there definitely is a premium attached to those coins. Now, what premium do you attach to them? The gentleman, when he put up the trade offering on the Silver Forum, didn't put what he wanted originally. He just simply said, looking to trade up for silver, send me your best offers. And, well, a few people sent offers of different amounts, and fair enough, we're in a market economy. That's one thing that you can look to definitely try and get and play and see who's going to give you the best price. But nothing actually ended up working, and the trade didn't happen. And part of that, I think, comes down to expectations. The gentleman himself wanted X amount of silver because he valued the gold at a premium, but the silver at spot price. And unfortunately, that's not really a practical way of looking at things when it comes to the swaps, because you have to look at what's right for both parties. If you're just simply doing it the way that that gentleman's trying to do it, then essentially what's happening is that you're trying to win both sides of the argument. And that's not always practical and or possible. Let's see if we can test this one through the slab. Yes, we can. There we go. So it's really important to get those expectations right. If you are trying to win both sides of the argument, then the chances of you actually going ahead with that trade is very, very slim. Now, what I like to think about for any of the trades that I do, and my personal experience of trading up the larger gold coins that I had for sovereigns last year ran like this. If I took the items that I want to trade, so if let's say I want to trade this particular coin here for some silver, I would look at what the market rate for these coins are right now. Now, it's a hard market for 1 ounce gold coins. That's why I traded them out for sovereigns last year. But a Queen's Beast coin has a premium. So spot price on this is what, £2,325, something like that, around $3,000 an ounce. Gosh, who'd have thought it would get over that amount? But there is a premium. I'd give this about 3 to 4% premium. So you're probably looking at about £2,400, maybe, all in with postage, just about. And then I say to myself, well, what can I buy with £2,400? If I sold this to Joe Bloggs today and money in the bank today, what would I have to pay to get some silver out of that? Now, as I said, you could just try and play that ratio. If you want to get the cheapest silver possible, then you could say, well, I want to buy bars, simple, cheap bars. There are disadvantages of bars in terms of their capital gain status. If you want to get just Britannias, you might have to pay a little bit more. So in my mind, what I would do there is take a calculator and I'd say, well, I've got £2,400. Let me get the notifications away before we go on camera. There we go. So I'd have £2,400. And if we are buying Britannias, let's say, Britannias on the Silver Forum, if you're very lucky, you can get them for £30 a coin. So that's 80. 80 coins is what I'd be looking to get. So I've got a premium on this end for that, but I'm paying a premium on this end for that. And the ratio there is 80-1. So that's what I'd ask for. I'd ask for 80 silver coins if somebody wanted to do that. However, if I was able to get some generic bullion bars, basically, and spot price on them is, what, £26.20, so call it £27 an ounce. If I divide that by 27, I would want to get 88, maybe 89 ounces of silver for my 1 ounce gold. Now, let's say that I valued my gold slightly differently and it had to go at spot price because it wasn't being sold. So if I go 2,325 and I divide that by the £30 for the Britannias, you can see I'm getting 77.5. So therein lies the issue, that there is an expectation element of this trade that was disconnected in that particular situation on the Silver Forum. So from my experience, what I did with the Britannias and other big, I did a few capital gains non-exempt coins, cashed those in, used my annual allowances for the tax year to get those out and put them into something a bit better, which was the sovereigns. I looked at what I could have potentially sold them for. So if through my buyers club, if I'd had the 21 ounce gold Britannias that I sold, I could have probably got about 1% over spot for them all told. And then I looked at what I would be able to buy with that money. And of course, it's a considerable sum, so you get a bit of a bulk discount when buying that much. And I looked on some dealer sites and I looked on the Silver Forum, and I could have probably bought everything I wanted off the Silver Forum, but the demand, I wouldn't have been able to buy 80 and 90 sovereigns off the Silver Forum all in one go. That was not practical. But from a dealer, I could have done for about 2.5 to 3% over spot. So when I contacted Atkinson's Bullion, not sponsoring today's video at all, they're just a long-term channel sponsor, but not paying for any mentions or anything today. Excuse me, I got in touch with them and I said, I want to do this. That's what I've looked at on your website. Is there anything that we can do to sweeten the deal, make it better? And what, because it's obviously, it's not like a traditional thing where I'm selling to you and then I'm buying from you. It's just a simple swap. And they came back and they said a 1% spread. So a 1% spread was perfect for me. That was exactly fine. I mean, the amount of work that I would have had to have put in to sell 20 individual coins, get all the postage done, the risk of all of those postage costs, sending them out to the customers, the legwork, it takes a long time. But in one day, I just went straight up to Atkinson, dropped off the 20, picked up all the sovereigns in exchange, job done. That was the expectation that I put upon myself. Now, if I'd had the expectations where I want to sell all my 1 ounce gold Britannias for 3% over spot, but I want to buy all my sovereigns for spot, it would never have happened. First of all, Atkinson's would never have done it. I wouldn't have been able to actively do that on the Silver Forum and make those trades possible because it would have been unrealistic. And there's something just morally not great about having an advertisement up for that kind of situation where you're basically waiting for somebody who A, doesn't know better, or B, is so blind and ignorant to the fact that they're not getting a good deal and you're getting the best deal. It just doesn't fit right within my moral turpitude. Hey, I used a fun phrase, moral turpitude. I do like it when I do that. So my point here is that it is a tough situation to manage one's own expectations, and a lot of people fall foul of that. And it is interesting because I think a lot of people just think the ratio is the ratio and you can get that ratio all done and dusted and easy peasy. It's not that easy. Now, a lot of other people think that if you just do a plain old swap, that you don't have to pay any capital gains taxes. I'm not a tax advisor, I'm not a tax specialist, and I'm certainly not giving tax advice on this channel. But what I would say very much is that if you do that and you don't bookkeep properly and you get in trouble, you will be absolutely shafted. So if you're swapping, because a lot of people did it after the CGT worries of the recent budget and the Labour government here in the UK, a lot of people were selling their non-CGT stuff, so Krugerrands, things like Perth Mint gold coins, they were just reams and reams and reams of them being swapped out and sold. And a lot of people wanted to swap because they thought it would be off the radar. Well, I would say you're playing with fire if you don't do it properly, which is why when I did my trade with Atkinson's, I wanted it to be on the books. From my perspective, Atkinson's, yes, no money changed hands in that I didn't give them my 20 ounces of gold and I got 20 grand odd or whatever the price was at the time into my bank account, and then I sent 20,000 straight to them. There was no point in that, and also we open ourselves up to the ridiculousness of UK banking, where suddenly I would probably be asked from the bank to prove where my £20,000 came in from. What's happening there? Can you prove to your wealth to us? Or when I then sent the money to Atkinson's, it would inevitably be blocked because the banks don't want you buying gold and silver, and the pain of that would have been an absolute nightmare. But at the same time, from a CGT perspective, in a non-tax giving advice kind of way, there's a paper trail. I have a paper trail of this trade, and you can trade like for like, you can trade goods for goods, but from an accounting perspective, whilst no money has traded hands, a trade has still happened, and a trade for a different amount has happened. So from my perspective, I know what trade equivalent price I, inverted commas, sold my non-CGT coins for. I know then, therefore, what the profits were on those particular coins and are within my capital allowances for that tax year. And I know then, therefore, I do not have to pay any CGT on them. I also know that the vast majority of the coins that were in that trade were CGT exempt. So if ever I get a knock on the door from HMRC to say, well, they probably wouldn't knock on your door. They'd send you a letter going, could you please explain this unknowingly fortuitous situation within your finances? That's probably it's a different wording, but you get my point. They would ask for some proof. And I have now a paper trail of that. I have invoices and a record of that trade from Atkinson's. Easy peasy, job done. So trading, definitely you can do it, and people do it, and people have great success with it. But there are a lot of things to think about before you go ahead and do it. And so I would recommend that if you are looking to trade up your silver for gold or gold for silver, whatever takes your fancy, basically, make sure that it's right for you and it works for the other side as well. Otherwise, it just won't happen, and it'll be a waste of everybody's time. So there we go. Now, I need something for you all to quote down in the comment section. If you are watching to the 17th minute of my video, then you're very, very cool, and you need to prove how cool you are to me by quoting me serial number 559444. If you quote that serial number down below, then you will be super special and cool. And for those super special cool people, what I will say is as well that quoting these little serial numbers down in that comment section is going to be very beneficial for you as we approach the 75,000 subscriber mark. I'll leave that up to your imagination as to what I might be referring to there. But let me know what your thoughts are on this subject, and let me know if you're super cool as well. We'll see you on the next video. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.